You're listening to Honey. We made a Disney podcast. Two friends since first grade, now dads reliving the Disney movies we grew up on with our own kids. I'm Eddie Ferguson.
And I'm JB Wagner. And on today's episode, we are airlifting our sizable review of Operation Dumbo Drop. But first, Eddie, how are the kids? How's the family?
We're doing good. I was going to ask you if you guys have discovered this short show on Disney Plus called Bluey.
No.
Have you guys watched Bluey?
No, we haven't.
Okay, this is the new obsession right now. It's our family watch. It's an Australian cartoon, so I have no idea how Disney has it and it's on there, but it's like put out in Australian by like the Australian government or something. And it's about this family of dogs, this kid named Bluey. But it's the cutest cartoon. And most of the episodes have to do with the dad and the two kids on some like imaginative journey or whatever. And so most mornings, because like on Saturday mornings, we'll do Saturday morning cartoons with dad, right? Like that's kind of a special thing. And but now like every morning Lewis is waking up going, Bluey, we watch Bluey. Like, no, buddy, like we only do that on Saturdays. And he's like, no, Bluey.
He's got a
Bluey.
fever, and his only prescription is more
Bluey. So you guys have not heard of Bluey?
No, we haven't.
It's super cute. It's really fun. It's a cute little, and like they're 5 minutes an episode or whatever.
Yeah, we on a recent trip we learned that we do not like the short videos that because we'll download a bunch of videos for a trip.
Yeah, for a trip is bad.
Yeah, you don't want to do the five because then my wife is like constantly having to reach back to push forward. Restart. If it doesn't go through, no, you do a few movies in there and 20 minutes at least episodes. Yeah.
That's where Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is clutch. It's like a good 22 minutes. It's that's usually what we pick and go for the long one. Or our van has the little screens in it, but we only allow him to watch something if we're like going on a really, really long road trip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And mom got him this Bearstein Bears, which he just says bears. He can't get Bearstein. Bears. I watched Bears and so we're like, no, we're not going on a trip. Like we're just driving to the other side of town or whatever. And he goes, okay, we go on trip then? We go on a trip?
That is the other way to do this.
Yes. Just go on a trip so that I can watch my Bearstein Bear videos.
That is awesome. That is adorable. Well, we have a little bit of Disney news to talk about today. When you're listening to this, it'll have been a week past, but did not want to forget this as we are talking about Disney news. Marvel decided to randomly give us a little gift today. How would you describe this video, Eddie? What's the concept for this?
Well, one, it's almost like the greatest hits of the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point. And then like here's pretty much what we've got finished in these upcoming films that are coming out and the next two. Because I think we saw footage of like Black Widow and Shang-Chi. Yep. But then the rest, it was just title cards and potential opening dates.
There was also, we'll come back to that, but there was also a little bit of footage of Eternals. This is our first time seeing. Oh yeah, a little bit of Eternals. We got to see Angelina Jolie and some.
Well, this is going to be a full year because you get Black Widow this month or next month.
We get Black Widow in July.
July.
To move back to July.
Shang-Chi in the fall.
Yep.
Eternals, I think, is coming around November.
Yes.
Yeah. And then probably the one I'm most excited for, because I'm really liking these, Spider-Man No Way Home comes out at Christmas time.
Christmas time movie. It's been a while since we've had a good Christmas time movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely. So I was intrigued by. They had live footage, not live, but like footage from people watching the film inside of a movie theater.
Oh, that was an amazing.
I mean, and that's kind of goosebump moment for sure.
When on your left, and and people are losing their minds as everyone starts
Avengers assemble, and I mean, I remember that
Still
in the theater.
Goosebumps.
It's almost like they're trying to stir up a resurgence for the movie-going industry.
It's not they're trying. That is the first half of this film. And possibly even a bigger play at just getting people to go back to the theaters. Because they're priming the pump right now. It's all the text on screen. The first half of this is just kind of like nostalgia. Remember how we are your family and we're like this, without specifically saying go to the theaters. It's it's a play for that. It's a play for them to start getting you to start wanting to come back.
For sure. And I think the groundwork has been laid. I haven't seen it yet, but Godzilla versus King Kong, or the other way around. I don't know if you heard about this, but it's like quote unquote exploding at the box office, where it is doing much better than they ever anticipated it.
Yep.
And they're just saying like that was the signal that people are really ready.
Signal.
Yeah, that people are ready to get back in the theaters. I don't know how
good Mortal Kombat did. I'm guessing it didn't quite do as good as Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, but I think there's definitely a stirring. All the East Coast states just announced that pretty much by the end of May, all restrictions, most restrictions will be lifted. Like there's huge changes. Florida just said like no restrictions whatsoever.
Nashville has just done that too. They're still keeping in mask mandates, but the city of Nashville also rolling back. We've already seen California do a lot of that. And it's not that now. I know I'm probably in the minority, but I've been waiting for a reason to go to the theaters. It's not so much I'm waiting. I'm not going. It's there's not anything to see. I want them to fully give me something to go watch.
I've seen 2 movies in the past year in theaters. Wonder Woman, which was like, such a disappointment.
And Tenet.
And then the second one that I saw, we went and saw Raya and the Last Dragon.
Did you see Tenet?
Oh, yeah. We did see Tenet in the theaters. So there's been 3 in the past year.
But that's about it.
But I think for most people, like 3 movies in a year, they're like, wow, that's a lot. We don't go to the movies 3. But not for us. Like
I was an avid I had Movie Pass a couple years ago, but even recent as early last year, I had my AMC stubs. So
well, that's your introvert therapy.
It's a good.
But no, like Sarah and I went on a date the other night, and there was nothing. Like we really wanted to go to the movies, and there was nothing playing, nothing worth seeing.
Exactly.
And we actually showed up early, and my parents who were watching the kids for us, they're like, wow, you guys are kind of back early. And we're like, yeah. Like here's what's really disappointing. We went to the mall because we're like, oh, that'll be fun. So we went to Keystone. We're like, this will be fun. We'll go
Keystone?
to the Apples. Yeah, we went to the Keystone Mall.
Isn't that where like all the shootings happen?
No, that's Lafayette.
Lafayette Scare.
Yeah. No, Keystone's the fashion mall with the Apple Store and Warby Parker.
That's right. Our listener, our 3 listeners right now are getting a very detailed view of Indianapolis malls right now. So,
but the Apple Store, you couldn't just go in and browse. You had to wait in line until an employee could come and walk with you through the store, and you can only tell them like 1 or 2 items that you wanted to check out.
Wow.
And I'm like, because I'm you know, like you go to the Apple store and you're like, oh, I kind of want to just see the new iPhone. All right, I'll play around
new
with
iMacs
the
that just
MacBook
came out.
Pros,
Yeah.
new iMacs, see if those are in. Ooh, the HomePod Minis, like I haven't seen those in person. Let me go check that out. You know, and like that's just the whole Apple Store experience. And they're like, no, like what are the 1 or 2 items that you want to see? And the guy literally said, it'll be 35 minutes to an hour before an employee will be ready to walk with you. And I'm like, and I looked at him, I said, 35 minutes to an hour just so I could like see how small the iPhone mini is, you know, like, come on. I said, so is this like a virtual queue where I could like walk away and come back? Oh no, if you leave, then you lose your spot in line. I said, I just want to, you know, by then I was frustrated. I'm like, I just want to see the iPhone 12 mini and it's right there inside the door. Can you like walk me? It's like, can you just walk me to there? I'll keep my hands in my pockets. I won't touch it. I just want to see. I just want to see if it's like super tiny. And so they're like, okay, all right, we can do that. We can do that. So I need the movies to come back. I need to go see some Marvel flicks here. There was the scene from the seat in the theater that I'm glad you made me stop and watch that because it was like, it was so good.
It wasn't enough just to look up all the Twitter and Reddit feeds from this. You needed to actually watch the video. It was fun. A couple nuggets from it as I'm just kind of scrubbing through the Doctor. Several of these we already knew the title, but we did have a few new titles that not new character titles, but just subtitles to what the movies were. This wasn't a subtitle, but Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. You can see a little bit of Wanda's silhouette behind it if you look closely. A couple other things we already knew about Thor: Love and Thunder. Big one was Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, which they made sure to get in to the trailer earlier. The Marvels, not just Captain Marvel, but the Marvels. Mm-hmm. Is this Captain Marvel 2 or is this, I'm guessing that's what this is, right? Or is there something else happening here? Is there another series I don't know about called Captain Marvel?
So I'm just checking this out really quick. I believe it is a sequel to Captain Marvel, but it is going to be set up by the Disney Plus series Miss Marvel that comes out later this year.
That's this year that Miss Marvel comes out? Oh, interesting. I can see one of the actresses is going to be in it. Monica Rambeau is going to be coming back in for that one. But then, the rest of them kind of we knew. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I think we already knew the title of that. Maybe.
Did we know Ant-Man and the Wasp was to be Quantumania?
I think we did. Yeah. There was something about the quantum realm. I remember it being, but anyways.
We get no date or really title, but Feige finally gets to do his own Fantastic Four film. Which,
are you sure?
Yeah.
Is that what the ending logo is, or is it just because this is Phase 4?
No. It's Fantastic Four.
You sure?
The Wikipedia page I'm looking at right now says that it's Fantastic Four.
Okay.
And that at the July 19th San Diego Comic-Con, Feige announced Marvel Studios was developing a Fantastic Four film for the MCU. And John Watts was announced as the director.
Okay.
You don't believe me?
Are they going to bring back Chickless for the the rock guy from the previous one? It is interesting that they're bringing the Fantastic Four in here because what's his name played Captain America and was in one of the original. Chris Evans was in one of the previous ones, but it's very interesting to see to go back and watch clips from him because he was kind of he was the Chris Pratt kind of but mixed with Thor character, kind of arrogant, whatever, airhead kind of guy, loose cannon. And the big turn he made, like Captain America, completely changed his career, completely changed his legacy as an actor. But anyways,
which one are you most excited for here?
I am gonna say, I mean, that Multiverse of Madness is gonna be interesting because you've got, especially with how Wanda left off. I'm so intrigued by what she's going to be doing later. But also, I know nothing about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten. Anyone that I don't know anything about, I'm super interested in. Like
Sure.
Shang-Chi, the Eternals. There's so many in here that I just don't know anything about. So
I gotta say, I'm excited for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yep.
That they're bringing back all the previous 2 Spider-Man
That's
actors.
right.
And their villains.
That is so fun.
Yeah, so Jamie Foxx is coming back.
I will say this. It's fun, except for I'm not like super excited about Tobey Maguire. I'm sorry, I've never been a Tobey Maguire fan. So.
Yeah, so and that's the thing. Like, I never liked the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, so I was never a big Spider-Man fan. I really liked the Andrew Garfield ones. I was a big fan of those, especially the first one. And then I've really liked the MCU one. So I think it'll be interesting. It'll be fun.
Yep. So that is it for our Disney news. I feel like I should have had some like dun 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 like ending to our Disney news section or something. But
that would be a fun sound effect to have.
That would be. Maybe I can see if I can find that somewhere. We'll see. But today, what we're really here to talk about with whatever remaining time we have is to talk about another 1995 film, one of the 30,000 that came out from Disney in 1985, which is the movie Operation Dumbo Drop.
Cue the Disney sound effect.
Okay. IMDb description for Operation Dumbo Drop. Yes, that is a real movie that was made in 1995. Okay. To keep the loyalty of a village during the Vietnam War, a U.S. Army officer and his unit struggle to deliver it a live elephant. Yes, that is the legit storyline of this film.
It's the unimaginative description.
Unimaginative. Interesting.
Right. There's no descriptors here.
There isn't any. It's literally this is what happens.
This is what happens. So, had you seen this movie prior to this viewing?
Nope.
This was your first time.
First watch.
See that, and that's what's funny is this was Sarah's first viewing as well, and I thought for sure that this might be one that she had. No, this was one of my mom's favorites. She would always want to watch it as well. She's a big Danny Glover fan too, so that makes sense. But no, yeah, Operation Dumbo Drop was always a big one, and Ote Botat was a common saying in our house. Ote Botat.
Ote Botat. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah,
the elephant's name.
What were the scenes or the nostalgia you had going back through and rewatching this? I'm guessing for the first time in a while, unless you popped this in immediately once you got your Disney Plus account.
No, but I don't think it was like immediately on Disney Plus because I remember searching for it or something like, "Ooh, I wonder if they have Operation Dumbo Drop." What was a scene? I think especially like thinking back to being a kid and the scenes that are the funniest is having to give the tranquilizer suppository.
That's a very scientific term for what they did.
I won't go into greater detail there. That I remember, like, as soon as that whole sequence like starts playing out and everything, I was like really flashing back to it as a child thinking this is hysterical. And then of course when they're like running and he jumps up into the back of the truck and jumps into the middle of all of the elephant poop and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this as a kid and thinking this was hysterical. So, what I didn't remember was how much like geopolitical storyline was in this, right? Like how much they really did talk about the Vietnam War and just kind of all the little details and stuff in that. I'm like, that just flew over my head as a kid, I guess. And then as I'm watching it as an adult, it was I was like, oh wow, there's a lot more in this than I realized.
My question that I kept on asking throughout, because evidently this was inspired
Sure.
by a true story.
Yeah.
The question I kept asking was, why did they make this movie? Because it's the most random of storylines. I know it was based off of, I don't know to what degree of it was real. It was probably like about 5% of this, of just like they heard about the story of them having to airlift an elephant into a tribe or something like that during the Vietnam War, and they're like, let's make a movie about it. Let's create a whole thing about it. But why? What was most of the time it comes from some sort of like, oh, people are really into superhero comics. So we're going to make more comic book movies. Oh, this is really big right now. We're going to ride this wave, or we're going to follow this trend. Was this literally this is the only, because there's obviously a lot of Vietnam War movies. Was this just one of those like Disney didn't want to get left out of the Vietnam stories, and this is literally the only Vietnam story they can tell because it's supposed to be somewhat heartwarming? Yeah, for Disney to actually do it themselves. Like there's really not that many other stories they could have told without hurting their brand.
Well, I mean, this is the story of Disney in the 90s, right? Like the film we're going to look at next week is the classic tale of that. But this one very much so, where they're just willing to try anything and put anything out there because
it's a gamble.
They're just trying to see what hits and what registers. Where, the Disney model of the 80s and 70s was they would just make a few films every once in a while. Like you would get a live action every few years, you'd get an animation every few years. And so they just needed to start churning out content more and more. I found this really great quote by Dennis Leary, who is in this film, which you got to admit, this movie has a really phenomenal cast.
Ray Liotta, Danny Glover, Dennis Leary. We even got Sancha from Cool Runnings. They brought him across with another Lucky Rabbit foot.
Yep. Dennis Leary said that this movie was so painstakingly terrible because it took a long time to shoot that all of us actually had pictures of the things that we were going to buy with our money to keep us going. He said he had a picture of this property in Connecticut. Ray Liotta had a picture of a house that he was building outside LA, and Danny Glover had a picture of a property in San Francisco he was going to buy. That's how we could get through it.
Oh, that is incredible. That is amazing.
And you've got to admit, like, yeah, if you're working with a live animal, you're working with a child actor, and you're doing a ton of location shots. On
location.
Like, tons of this is on location. There's no way that was just a fun, happy time all the time.
Oh, absolutely not. And with zero, and it's not like they're doing a film that's like an Oscar bait, like
right
intent. No, this is a Disney film. This is not going to be anywhere near.
And all of
anything.
them they were just on the other side of their peak.
Yep. I would give you that. Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense that for them, saying they had to do this because.
Oh, they probably paid him a ton of money. Although,
right.
I mean, Danny Glover is still kind of, he's just coming off of, granted, he's coming off of Angels in the Outfield. So yeah, maybe he's probably is right in that mode. And then we lost him for a little bit. He kind of resurfaced here or there, but you're right. This is the tail end. I'll give you that.
Yeah, we're starting to kind of slip down a little bit.
That's what I just felt the whole time. I was like, this is the most random story that someone was just like, we need to tell this. Or it could have just been, hey, we're just going to pick something out of the news, kind of like the like Cool Runnings. Hey, that's crazy. I wonder if we can build a story around that. Then there's this. Hey, some guys during the Vietnam War dropped a elephant in the middle took time to do an elephant drop in the middle. We can probably build a story around that. Yeah, but that was my overwhelming desire. It's like, why this story? Because I know that I'm not the biggest animal lover. I'm not as like really in tune with my primal feelings or something like that. I don't know what I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It was hard to watch this film for me.
Yeah, I gotta say, this was one of the first times that I had like a very super nostalgic feel of a movie from my childhood that it like really disappointed. Like I was just like, oh, this is, it has so many like really like slow moments where it just loses all momentum and it's just like, brr. And I mean, I appreciate the attempts to try and like, I don't know, show another side of war, try and show that there are
things they regretted,
things that like, there are those who are trying to still remain honorable in the midst of something that's so terrible. You know, especially a lot of the things that Danny Glover, you know, he's kind of got a couple of key speeches in there that I'm like, okay, I appreciate the attempt there, and I like what you're trying to put out there, but it just has so many slow moments in it, and so that was shocking. That I was like, usually like my nostalgia, like I just kind of the nostalgia wins out for me, and in this one I'm like, ooh, it's just not there. I thought it was. The kid is really awkward in this.
He wasn't a number 1 for you, Eddie. He was a 10.
No.
You are 10. You are number 10.
This many.
Even when we were trying to come up with like the opening for this, there wasn't a ton of like, oh, we can riff off this one great one-liner or this like funny moment. I had a hard time like even writing the things down I did. There was kind of scenarios like when they're like, why are they doing the elephant? It's the Republican Party. It's Richard Nixon. That was kind of funny. But overall, I just had like scenarios that I wrote down that I just wasn't. Yeah, it left me. I didn't have much to like gravitate to. This was a just get through it kind of film.
Yeah, and that's what's funny is now his name is Doug E.D., though we refer to him as Sancha. He's got a couple of like funny little moments and kind of bits here and there, but none are anywhere near as memorable as what he got in Cool Runnings. So that's kind of like he's a fun, likable character the whole way through. And kind of the other, his counterpart, Farley, you know, that's kind of a fun little bit through there, but not really.
Was it? Yeah.
Just wasn't enough to really kind of launch it.
Here's some of my random questions from this film, other than just like, why did they make this? Okay, so one, how much do you think Crunch Bars paid to sponsor this film? Because they pulled a Reese's Pieces in this for sure,
and it's
like from E.T. Yeah,
and it's not going to have the cinematic history that Reese's Pieces has,
especially because he throws up the Crunch Bars immediately after getting on the ground. So that was it. I was trying to figure out if was PETA actually involved in the or did PETA like see this film and go like, okay, we're going to wield our force to actually make sure that we are more
elephants
involved.
were harmed in the making of this film.
Yeah, maybe, but at the same time, there's so many like, wait a minute, are they really gonna? Do they have is that a real elephant on a random truck that they're just driving around in the middle of? Like, is that a real elephant? Is it not? There's so many different moments where I was like, okay, this had him get on an aircraft. Like, no wonder this was a nightmare for the actors and stuff, because there was just so many things as well as just the physics of the whole actually him leaving the plane, coming down, and then what's his name flies really far down, and Ray Liotta gets on the elephant while he's trying to save the elephant. I'm like, that's not how physics works. If you're both falling, you can't mount it and then be doing normal things with your body would continue to like be pushed up by the whatever. So I was thinking too much about the physics of the falling elephant. It was crazy.
I can't remember. Yes. Okay. So like they made a fiberglass elephant and put him in, so they actually parachuted something that looked like an elephant.
And that's why it looked weird.
the
whole time.
Weird. But IMDb is saying that while they were filming the parachute scenes, the parachute failed to open for 3 of the 6 fiberglass elephant replicants.
And so they just smashed.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Amazing. Can you tell me, here's another question I have. Why were the Viet Cong so intent on not allowing them to bring a new elephant back to the village?
I don't know the Viet Cong personally.
It just seemed like a very weird, like, why are these guys doing? They're trying to bring an elephant back to do the one that we shot. We can't allow, this must not stand.
I think what they're trying to prevent is like the village falling in love with the Americans and helping them more.
Fine.
Is my guess. Any more random questions for me here?
I don't even know if any of them are worth. I think I had most of the random questions that I was thinking about.
This movie opened against another classic 1995 film. It opened against Waterworld. Have you ever seen Waterworld?
Yes, I have.
And Waterworld won and beat it out.
And Waterworld is like a joke of a movie.
Right. Like that's just how I want to put this into
movie,
perspective for you. Is like
it did not do well for them. Danny Glover did not do well for
yeah. The Disney fan site itself says Waterworld soundly beat Operation Dumbo Drop. Okay.
Operation Dumbo Drop drowns trying to compete against Waterworld. Oh goodness. This film, there were no standout performances to speak of. There was no were you like really was it heartwarming to see them at the very end when they didn't shoot them down because I'm not going to shoot a flying elephant.
A flying elephant. No, I think the most heartwarming moment through all of this.
When you got to stop and not watch it anymore, because that was
I was gonna say the building montage. Anytime I get a montage, they're welding and the elephant's helping them out. Moving and holding things in place while they're welding, and that's a team coming together.
That is the moral of the story is we got to work together, especially when it means bringing an elephant to a random village.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Do you think he got his job back? Do you think he was dishonorably discharged? Do you think all of them got their jobs back when they finally? No, they did because they were. Because
they caught like that whole unit.
They caught all the people, but you would think they would still get court-martialed or something for stealing a plane and crashing a plane. Or no, I guess it didn't crash. I think they flew it. They landed that back, but they were like couldn't do more flights.
Right.
Oh goodness, what a movie, Eddie. Do you have any other final things about this film?
Wow. I feel bad. Like this is I have such conflict here because I remember like fond memories of like getting together as a family and watching this movie, but I don't. This was such a weird experience. Usually, like when I sit down and watch one of these films that we watched a lot as a family, I'm like, oh, this is why we love this. This is so great. And this one, it was like, why did we like this one so much? It's just kind of.
I think we all know what we're going to be rating this then. Solid 2.5. Just kidding. Oh, it's almost not even worth putting out a number for this thing because it was so bad.
Poor Operation Dumbo Drop. I'm sad. Like it could have had a lot of potential. Like it could have.
What if this could have had a lot? I guess the actors they chose, but still.
I mean, it's a fun concept, right? Like it's a over the top, interesting concept. I think it just needed maybe better writing, some better.
Well, it was just. I think they're
one-liners.
up a creek from the get go because it's just hard to tell unless you're going to go full slapstick.
Sure.
It's hard to have a Vietnam setting for supposedly
For a
a kid's
family
for
film.
a family film. That's
So
asking
true.
a lot.
Yeah,
I know you got the elephant.
There's very little you can do to make the Vietnam War family friendly.
Yep, and entertain. It's just like doesn't really
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. So if it was just inspired by a true story, like change it around a bit.
Yep.
I don't know. So
that is it. That is our heavy, lengthy review of Operation Dumbo Drop. Eddie, what is the next film that we are going to be covering?
I think 1995 is when Disney learns, like, maybe we shouldn't be cranking out a ton of movies all the time. Next week, we will be looking at A Kid in King Arthur's Court.
See, I can at least understand the logic of this because there's always going to be a time where people are like, we haven't made a knight movie. Let's do something about knights and King Arthur. It's a classic. At least that makes sense.
Save it for the next episode because I have some thoughts then.
You have some thoughts. Okay. Well, my thought is we would love it if you would go subscribe to Honey. We made a Disney podcast. Leave us a review. Please leave a better review for us than you did for this film, than we did for this film. But thanks again for listening to another episode.